Have you ever felt like your boss is the villain in your workplace story? And that they're always out to get you? It's kind of like Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner, where you're the Roadrunner, they're Wile E. Coyote, and they're constantly setting up traps for you to trip on. Well, if you feel that way, you're not alone. Many of the executives that I work with have felt this way before. By the way, I used to love watching Looney Tunes growing up every Saturday morning. By the way, if you're a Looney Tune fan just like me, comment below. I want to hear from you. And what I'm going to share with you in this video, especially if you manage teams and that relationship with your boss is crucial in your success, in your movement, in your career growth, then I'm going to share with you 5 key principles on how you can turn that adversarial relationship into a successful one. Principle number 1, perceive the power of perspective. Now that's a tongue twister, isn't it? When it comes to perspective, this is one of the most powerful ways that you can influence yourself and to change the situation around you and to be able to be empowered in that event. Because you are experiencing an event. When you see your boss doing something, when you see them, when you hear them responding to you in a certain way, oftentimes we have a judgment about that action. We have a judgment of what is happening around us, and we have a judgment about the situation. Now, oftentimes when it comes to experiencing these events in our lives, it's not the event themselves that produces frustration and fear. It's not the event themselves, but rather it is our response and the way we process those events. Now, this is all about how can we focus on the things that we have control over. Because let's face it, to be honest, how can we have control over how our boss reacts to us? How can we have control over what our boss does and the decisions that he or she makes? We don't have control over any of those things outside of us. And there's only 2 things in life that we do have control over. And those 2 things are our own perspectives and our own actions. So you can change a heaven into a hell, or you can change a hell into a heaven, depending on your perspectives on what you are observing that is happening around you. So once you gain that perspective, it's about learning from this moment, taking an opportunity to say, what can I learn here? How is this situation serving me? What are the benefits that I can see that this is happening? These are the events that are happening right now, the way that my boss is behaving, the actions that he or she is taking, the decisions that they're making. But I can also see how that is benefiting me. I can also see very precisely how those things are serving me. And in that moment, the way that we see the world, as soon as we see the world a different way, the world around us changes. So the power of your perspective is one of the most influential things that you can do for yourself, and how you can influence yourself to stand up and be empowered. So this is the key, to perceive the power of your perspectives. So once you're able to gain perspective on your boss's behaviors, this is where you can be truly like the Roadrunner, where he continues on his journey without judging whether Wile E. Coyote's actions are setting up traps for him, without judging whether or not Wile E. Coyote's actions are really out to get him. And therefore, the fear and the frustrations that you felt before will subside. You can proceed in your journey to push your agenda forward. You can proceed in your journey to lead your teams without that fear and frustration that you experienced before. Right, so that is principle number 1, is to perceive the power of your own perspective. And now that leads us to principle number 2, and that is to prioritize self-governance. Self-governance, what is self-governance? Governance, the root word of governance is to govern, which is to really master or control. So when it comes to the way we grew up, when you think about your age from 0 to 18, we are under the governance of our parents or our teachers or our guardian if you never grew up with your parents, right? So we're governed by them. In other words, our parents tell us when to wake up, when to have dinner, not to have dessert before dinner, that, what we should study for school, how we should do well in school, that we should listen to our teachers and so forth, what constitutes good manners, right? Our parents start out by telling us these things. And so we're governed by our parents when we're growing up. Now we proceed after we leave home, and some of us go to college and some of us go straight to work. And in that instance, sometimes that governance from our parents continues onwards. But then now we're introduced to new teachers, sometimes college professors or our bosses as well, and other managers that we come along the path. And then we are governed by that. Or sometimes it could be preachers, teachers and preachers, or it could be societies or cultural teachings as well. And so therefore we are governed by those things, and those continue on into life. And so that is what I call extrinsically governed. We're governed by things outside of us. And this can continue on and so forth into our career path as we become executives and we lead teams. Sometimes, if we're unaware of this, we can continue to be externally governed. Now, self-governance is the opposite, is where I am able to govern myself, which means I am understanding who I am. I know what my values are and my priorities. I know what is important to me. I know who I am becoming, and I know the value I bring with respect to my environment. And so therefore, I have clarity on what my life's priority is and my purpose and my mission that I am going to pursue. So that is being self-governed. When you are self-governed, this is where your pursuit of career and your growth, your pursuit of relationships becomes more meaningful. And you are more likely to be resilient, and you're more likely to be able to proceed through challenges, through supports when you are self-governed. So the pursuit and the prioritization of self-governance is going to help you when it comes to creating meaningful and equitable relationships with your boss, regardless of how they do act, regardless of what decisions they do make, which you have no control over. But when you're self-governed, you know who you are, you know your values and your priorities, and you can govern yourself with respect to that relationship. Right? It's not about changing yourself. It's not about changing other people as well, but it is showing up truly authentically and bringing your whole self to work. And that is also the second part of the only thing you have control over is your perspectives and now your actions. Your actions change when you are self-governed because now you're no longer living by imperatives. Imperatives sound like I should be this way. I shouldn't do that. I'm supposed to. I'm not supposed to. I need to. I don't need to. So those are living by imperatives. When we're self-governed, we live by our values, honoring and appreciating our values, but also honoring and appreciating others' values as well, and being able to find the point of equity between the two. So this is principle number 2, prioritizing self-governance. Principle number 3 is to practice letting go. Oftentimes, the journey towards professional development and personal growth, that journey is so foundationally set upon letting go. What are we letting go of? We're letting go of old beliefs, letting go of philosophies that no longer serve us, letting go of the way we used to do things or how we feel things or the way that we see the world, our perspectives and our tendencies towards things, our sensitivities. These are the things that often hold us back from the real objectives we set for ourselves. So this is a process of letting go. How can we let go of these things that hold us back? How can we let go of these old patterns that are holding us from being able to achieve our fullest potentials that we desire? So this is the process of letting go. And once you practice letting go, it becomes a way for you to live your life truly empowered in all areas. If you're listening to this and you're serious about taking your executive career to the next level, and you recognize that some of these things might be holding you back, but up until now, you haven't had a single strategy that really worked for you sustainably, then I invite you to work with me. Below in the description, there is a link for you to book a call with a member of my team, and we're going to talk about how this works and how it's going to work for you as well, and how it might be a right fit. And if it is, you're going to be invited to join another team of executives where every single week I provide that mentorship to show you how do you practice letting go? How do you practice letting go of patterns that might have been very difficult to let go of? And how do you achieve that self-governance? And more importantly, what are the steps and the strategic steps in order to turn that adversarial relationship into a successful partnership? And this is going to help you to build a meaningful and equitable relationship with your boss and all of those that you manage beneath you as well, in a way that is equitable and meaningful moving forward. So click the link below, and I look forward to working with you on the inside. Principle number 4 is to promote genuine understanding. Sometimes the way that we observe our boss's actions, the way that we see what they're doing and how they're making decisions and listen to what we're saying, sometimes our interpretation and hence our understanding of what isn't actually it. It wasn't their intention. Sometimes there could be that misunderstanding. Even though in that moment we are absolutely convinced that they're out to get us, even though in that moment we're absolutely certain that they were setting a trap for us, sometimes as hard as we hold that opinion and that assessment, that isn't actually reality. It isn't actually true. And oftentimes that is a response to our own traumas in the past that were undealt with. These assessments and judgments of other people's actions, especially if you're noticing that it's a pattern that you've been having in previous work experiences as well, oftentimes that is a trauma response to how we assess someone else's actions. So this is about principle number 4 is to promote a genuine understanding. When you understand genuinely the intentions of another person's actions, which is the reason behind their actions, which oftentimes is a taboo to even talk about or to even explore sometimes. But when you seek to have a genuine understanding, this is what will empower you to open lines of communication. This is what will also empower you to really find common grounds and to really build a sustainable, fair exchange with your boss where there can be meaningfulness and there can be equity as well. So that is principle number 4, is to really promote that genuine understanding. Principle number 5 is to preserve true character. Now back to our friends, Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner. The Roadrunner is going to continue to run and be in the running because that's who he is. Regardless of how many traps Wile E. Coyote does set, and no matter how many traps those did fail and how he keeps trying again, the Roadrunner knows who he is and he's going to continue to be in the running. And that is his true character preserved. So what this means is, how can you be the biggest and best version of yourself? But that goes right back to understanding what's important to me, who am I, and what are my value structures. So preserving that true character is going to allow you to be able to feel empowered and safe to show up and bring your whole self to the relationship with your boss and the relationship with your peers and your direct reports as well. So that is principle number 5. And when you apply all 5 of these principles, that's going to truly enable you to have turning that relationship from an adversarial one into a successful partnership through challenge and support, that you might be able to be resilient and achieve success in that relationship. Now, handling the anxiety of my boss is out to get me is one thing, but it's also not uncommon to feel unseen and unheard despite your best efforts. Now, if you're feeling that way, that you have the qualifications, the skill sets, you have had some major wins in the organization and you've led projects towards success, but you're still feeling not visible, you're still feeling unheard or unappreciated, then in my next video, I talk about how do you achieve more visibility at work. And that video is coming right up next. I'll see you there.